The Indiana Fever took this offseason and they went to work because it is a new era in Indy. Major moves acquiring Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Brianna Turner, Sydney Colson. There's a lot of new names and new faces in Indy. Ari, with these moves, which additions will be the biggest game changers for the Fever, who are looking to take another step and a big step this season?
Teammates, I'm going to throw y'all for a loop. Sorry, Alexa.
And
I know you're very well versed in
Cook.
DeWanna and Natasha Howard. But Sydney Colson, adding that championship pedigree, but being a vet that, everybody knows her about being funny and just a fun time in the locker room. She's great for chemistry, but she has that veteran leadership. It's no surprise. It's no coincidence that she has won on every single level. She's heavily skilled. She can facilitate. We talk about point guard shortage. No, she can find you. She has a great IQ, and she's tenured in this league. She's also a great vet for Caitlin Clark to help her continue to sharpen her skills and like get to her morally as well. So I'm looking at Sydney Colson being the X factor for Indiana. When Caitlin does need a break, Sydney Colson can step in, be just as flashy, and contribute in a very real way.
Oh, I like that. And as funny as she is, she keeps it real, too.
She does keep it real.
So she's going to keep it real in that locker room with a lot of veteran presence and some young players that they're really trying to bring along this year. What about your point of view?
Well, let's talk about DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. One of the big things that we talked about this Fever team this last year was the lack of playoff experience. That group last year, entering the postseason, had only 19 games combined across all of them of ever playing in the playoffs before. So now they're bringing in two players. DeWanna Bonner has 87 games of playoff experience. Natasha Howard has 53 games of playoff experience. And they've won championships, too. They know what it takes to get over the hump. And that's what this team, because they're trying to take advantage of their young core and, plus Kelsey Mitchell and how fantastic they are on the court and the off-court stuff, of course, as well. They are talking about that championship. So I think these were like perfect additions. I think they upgraded in the front court by bringing them in. But I think that leadership, that veteran intangible is going to go a long way for this group this year.
It's easy to underestimate the importance of having somebody on your team who has been in a long playoff run, who has won a ring. You added 3 people that have won championships, and many of them multiple championships. So being able to have the tenure and age, the championship pedigree, and just filling the holes that they need X's and O's wise within the team, the Indiana Fever are looking good this season.
And a new head coach in Stephanie White as well. By the way, the Fever were 3-12 last season versus eventual semifinal teams. So they're trying to flip that script this upcoming season. So if we fast forward a couple of months and we are inching closer to the postseason, Ari, where do you anticipate the Fever are at that point in the season?
I think going into the postseason, they're absolutely going to make a postseason. That's literally what's the
stand on business.
They're in a win now mentality. I think that they're going to be in the top 5. I can stand firmly on that because the things that we were missing last year with the veteran leadership, with just a strong, consistent post presence, they have filled that. And then they have a coach that has set a standard at the beginning of the season, who is respected by their players and has established what they want Indiana Fever culture to be. I anticipate them being top 5.
Yeah, I think honestly, top 5 is like the floor.
Yeah.
Like, this is a team, I think I would not be shocked if it takes some time for the pieces to come together because they only have 5 returners and the rest are newcomers. But no one's going to want to play them September, October. Even if they don't have the best record throughout the year, they're going to be really tough in the playoffs.
And when you have your star player, Caitlin Clark, who has such a high IQ, who wants to get out and push and move, you have a very mobile DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. So they're going to be able to keep up with the pace and flow of her. And then you also have a Kelsey Mitchell who can just shoot the lights out, right? So you have all the pieces. You're right. The top 5 is the floor, but I'm excited to see them fulfill the prophecy that they have made for themselves as of last season.
Hey, listen, shout out to Kelsey Mitchell, who's been in the trenches with this Fever team, and she has stuck it out. And now pretend like these are chips. Like, they're all the way in Indiana right now, and they've brought in the pieces to make a real run after finally making the postseason for the first time since 2016 last year. Look, that was the first time in an Indiana Fever conversation that we mentioned Caitlin Clark. Look how deep we got into the conversation without doing that. But let's talk about her because obviously year 2 for CC in Indy, and you got a chance to talk to her. Great article on ESPN.com, by the way. What did you learn about Caitlin Clark and what she did this offseason to prepare for year 2?
Well, I know we saw Caitlin Clark all over the place. It felt like every time you opened up social media, she might have been at, the NFL League meetings or in a Super Bowl commercial or, sitting with Taylor Swift at a Chiefs playoff game.
Casual.
As we all do. But no, she was in the gym working on her game, working on building strength in the weight room. And when I was speaking to people with the Indiana Fever franchise, they were just really impressed that she would go on these short trips to do these really cool things that come with being Caitlin Clark. But it was practically guaranteed that by the next morning, she'd be back in the gym working on her body and her game by 8 a.m. And she really loved her routine. She is one of those people, like, I know, I really identify with this, honestly, where it's like, I love my routine, I love my consistency, and that's where she said she's going to drive the confidence to really improve on that year, too. So I think between what she was able to do, both in the weight room, building that muscle mass, we've seen the pictures of her arms and her guns and all that, but also working on the nuances of her game and her really getting in the trenches with player development coach Keith Porter and Steph White's system. I think we can expect a really big jump in year 2, plus because of all the talent around her.
Right.
This is imagine she's never played with this much great talent as a pro or a college player, which is, I think, pretty scary if you're thinking about it, because that means it's going to probably raise her game as well.
And she's able to benefit from having stepped away from the court.
Definitely.
It's been a whirlwind for Caitlin Clark. I cannot imagine what she has had to go through in the past, few years, but being able to say, no, I'm not doing any basketball right now outside of my individual workouts. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to kick it with Taylor. I'm going to do all the things that fill me. Sometimes it's beyond what you can do on the court. Caitlin's highly skilled. She's great, and she's improving on the defensive end. She's like doing all the things she needs to do to be a great player in this league, but just knowing that she's pouring into herself mentally is going to help be the difference maker between last year and this year.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark has learned the value of the word no. And I think we all can take a little bit of a lesson from that. Can't wait to see what year 2 has in store for her in the W.